It's a good time to start. And everybody, you're welcome. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for coming. It's great to see us. If you are, this meeting is going to be recorded, and if you're okay with turning your cameras, that's fine. It's fine. You can turn on your cameras if you want to. So what are we doing here? So this session, this webinar is in partnership with, or is a partnership between YPIT, Young People in Tech, and Fekxir. I'm sure we all know YPIT, Young People in Tech. Is that we all know YPIT or we all know Fekxir? So YPIT, who are we? Young People in Tech. We are a global community of young people in tech, of young tech professionals and enthusiasts, and we are brought together by one mission, to network, to grow, and to make an impact with technology. And Fekxir is a platform that helps high-impact professionals build and prove their case for the UK global talent. And that's why we are having this very, very interesting session today. Building proof while you work. Building proof while you work, So how do you build proof? I'm sure some people have thought in their minds that maybe this global talent is not for me. Or maybe you're hearing about global talent for the first time. I don't know. But today, we have an amazing guest amongst us. He's here with us and he's going to be demystifying all of that. He's going to be demystifying all the myths. Oh, Beauty. Hello, Beauty. Good to see you. Good to see your face. So yeah, I'm going to be. His name is Michael. Michael, I think I pronounced your name right. And he's the DevOps and cloud engineer based in Birmingham. And Michael, he has walked this path that we are going to be talking about. He has walked the path. And he has secured his own UK Global Talent Visa through his technical work, not a fancy title, not his special job offer. He was able to, build proof that is going to be showing you how your everyday projects, how your whatever it is that you are doing, how that can, what you're already doing can build your case for you. So he's going to be showing you the way. You have your books, virus, joters, pen, whatever it is, notepads, to take notes of all he's going to be sharing and use it. So thank you. Can we have applause for Michael? I want to see claps. I want to see hands. I want to see. I think we should have at least 30 hands, 30 claps before I bring up Michael. Michael, please hold on. We want to have enough cheers and applause. Okay, good. I see all of it. All right, so over to you, Michael.
Hello, guys. I hope I can share. Let me check. Okay, I think I can share. My name is Michael. It's going to be a pretty short session, just around building proof while you work. And yeah, so, and then there's also going to be some time for some question and answer. So I'm just going to go to slideshow mode. It's going to be short. My name is Michael Mekuleyi. I'm a director at a Linkout. That's what it's called, UK Business Owners Director. So a Linkout is a company I founded, and then I also work for a couple of other companies too. So I do cloud and DevOps. I've been on the Global Talent for 2 years, 2 months. 2 years-ish, thereabout. I got my global talent in January 2024. I'm going to demystify a lot of stuff about global talents, about the application process and a lot of stuff, and if you're ripe, if you're not ripe, and all that stuff, right? So let's just get to it. So Director Link Cloud, I'm a Google Dev expert for Google Cloud. I'm a senior DevOps engineer. I used to be the CTO for Sydney, a YC company. I co-founded a company that was invited to YC in the US. I like food. That's my LinkedIn. If you want to connect, linkedin.com/im/Monarin, and then that's my Twitter. So everybody must have heard about the global talent stuff. The global talent visa, not stuff actually. It's a visa pathway in the US. It's just that I've spoken so much about this, it gets boring because a lot of people, like this week alone, you have 3-4 people say, "Hey, Michael, how can I apply for the global talent? And if I'm ready for the global talent." So just a short piece of information. I'm young. I'm not. I got the global talent when I was like 25. So I graduated from university when I was like 22. So that's like between 3 years. So a lot of the evidence I shared some of it was when I was in the university, inclusive of when I had experience. But another thing is, I became a senior engineer even in the university. So I was a senior engineer. Coming out of the university, I was already a senior engineer, I was already a CTO, right? But it was just 5 years of building really, really solid experience and then applying. So just take away from the waiting game. If you are waiting to apply when you're senior enough, stop it. Just exit the waiting game. Or if you are thinking you need a big open source project, it doesn't make any sense. If you are thinking that you need like 5 years of like a lot of work and all that stuff, right? There's no point waiting. I wish I had applied sooner. I wish I'd applied even in 2023, because even at that time I had met like the criteria. I knew the criteria. I wish I had applied in 2023. Maybe I was not ready to move to the UK in 2023, but it didn't make any much difference, right? It was still pretty much the same challenges. And sometime in 2023, I decided to write my application. I wrote it in about 90 days, 3 months. And I'm also going to show you a pathway to both writing your application and also receiving help to writing your application. So, yep. Yes, let's go. So the receive game is doing the same piece of work, but writing it down, right? Writing down a lot of the work you are doing. Same fix, but with the number attached, same project, but some vouch. Having someone just simply vouch for a lot of the stuff you are doing, like having someone just like say, okay, this is great work that this person has done, this is awesome work, this is nice work. And then having a folder that like argues for you. So just gathering a lot of evidence, gathering a lot of stuff, and making sure that amount of stuff that you gathered, it makes sense, right? So the gap in this case is not about talent, right? The gap is mostly about documentation. So a lot of people do a lot of cool stuff, but they don't document it. Like it's nowhere on the internet. You can't find anything about them. You're applying for like a global, well-respected visa, and then you're just on the internet, right? You're just on the internet. There's nothing about your work. So it's being able to capture your work. Before I made my global talent application, I'd written 10 articles, I'd spoken at over 20 events, and everything was available on the internet. I had a GitHub profile that showed it. The global talent visa is mostly never about talent. I heard that when the co-founder and CTO of Paystack First Apply was rejected, right? That's Ezra. Because of course, Ezra is awesome. He thought, but that was not it, right? He still had to boil down. Then his senior engineer at Paystack applied and got it, right? So it's about a lot of documentation, and they never go outside of the evidence you provide. So whatever evidence you provide is what everybody's going to work with. So what I'm not trying to give a breakdown to the visa pass. Everybody knows the visa pass, right? The visa pass means you get 5 years or 3 years in the UK, then it's straight to permanent residency. So you need to submit a CV, a good CV, the most 3 to 4 letters from people that have known your work for about 12 months, and a maximum of 10 documents, like your entire case, 10 pieces of documents. And usually, no document is reused across the criteria. So there's the mandatory criteria and there's the optional criteria, right? And then there's the criteria split between mandatory and optional. 4 mandatory, 6 optional. They're about depending on how much split. That was what I did. And when I applied, you only had me to have 1 mandatory click through, and then 2 optional for you to be on promise. So that's it. So the evidence is a byproduct, not a side project, right? You're not at the work, you're refusing to trade with the work you already did. So the number one thing, which is the most important thing, is to do the work. Like the migration, the audits, the pipeline fix, do the actual work. Like I said, I've been a software engineer for 10 years. Coming out of the university, I was already a software engineer for 3-4 years. I was already a senior. I became a CTO just immediately after the university. I started a company, we got into YC, we raised some money, and then I got the opportunity to come into the UK. Right. So can you give me a second? Okay, yeah. Then I got the opportunity to come into the UK. So it's all about, first of all, doing awesome work as a base. Right? Base, do awesome work. Right? Then leave a trace, documentation, repo, runbook, a post, something on LinkedIn, something. I was taking screenshots from emails because applying to the global talent, I saw like somebody's evidence, an example. I was taking pictures of transaction alerts because there was a time we processed like, I don't know, around like 300 million in transactions. I took screenshots of it on the dashboard. I put it in that this was what I was doing. I put my letters, letters of what's the name of this stuff? My letters for my offer letters. Yes, that's the name. The offer letters from the companies I work with. I got recommendations from my managers from all the companies I put there. Right. So leave a trace, document a repo, a runbook, something. Then attach numbers, be very direct, attaching numbers, like attach numbers, cost, latency, uptime, users, downtime avoided, all that stuff. Then you can add a thank you email. The key thing here is make a trail, a visible trail, and a visible trace. And then file it like one folder, screenshot everything, make sure it looks nice. So step 5 is the one everybody skips. Do the same. So the way I was gathering my evidence, even before thinking there was a global talent application, it was who I was, I did not draft another persona for the application. Like I was always giving talks. I was always evidencing the talks. I had a list of talks I had given. I had a list of articles I had written, right? So it was just all about within a space of 2 months, gathering everything and then just submitting it. So it's not like a side project or you have to develop a whole new persona to apply for the visa. It's just like a byproduct. So same work, different sentence. And it's all about telling a story, yeah, right? You're not inventing anything fresh. It's just the same Tuesday, just described honestly. And we are going to give you a couple of examples. Let's say I fix the flaky deployment in stand-up. As evidence, you caught failed deployment 71% across 40 engineers. You're just giving a lot more detail, giving a lot more, data. Like I helped a friend startup, advise a fintech on cloud architecture, name their launch post. I answer questions in the community and mentor 30 engineers. You can really see the difference between how you just say sentences versus how you tell a story. So mentor 30 plus engineers, blah, blah, blah. I wrote some internal documentation. I authored the standard now using 3 things with a sign-off email, all that stuff, right? So if a stranger can't tell what changed or by how much it changed, it wasn't evidence. So you can see details about numbers, like what kind of impact. I'm using this DevOps because this is what I deal with every day. So what kind of impact was had, like whether it was you as a software engineer, or it was you as a DevOps engineer, or as a marketing manager, whatever. So an example is a consulting application. Let's say you consulted, right, for an engagement, or you worked. Consulting is not allowed, but I just put that in as an example here. Right, one audit, several receipts, the work, a multi-site data center audit for a major African telecoms operator, 5 sites, that kind of work. Then the trace is that you have a structured written report per site. Then what it becomes is proof of technical contribution, right? Because the global talent visa is about getting the best of the best, like the best engineers, the best product managers, the best designers to come into the UK and like improve the economy. Right. Actually, when you're writing your what's the word? Personal statement, you usually add what you're going to do in the UK. Like if you're going to start a company, how you benefit the UK and all of that stuff. Right. It's mostly all about telling a story. So none of that was created just for a visa application. It was created because of how you do the job properly, like doing the job properly, being very conscious about the job, and then transferring a lot of other piece of information into pretty much actionable insights. The receipts are everywhere. There's code, PRs, there's the incident write-ups, there's the receipts in writing, there's the speaking in community, there's the monitoring. I mentored so many people in the university. I joined the community called Google Students of Code. Google Students Developer. It is flaky in my head now, but it used to be called Google Developer Student Club or Google Student Developer Club, something like that. This was like 7 years ago, pardon me. So I joined that community. I mentored like over 200 engineers that were students. I had a team. I also volunteered DevFest. I was a regular speaker at DevFest Ibadan, DevFest Ogbomoso. I traveled down to a lot of those communities to speak. I had pictures, a lot of that stuff. So the receipts are everywhere, either in code, either in write-ups, either in writing, either in speaking, either in mentoring or commercial impact. And you see that a lot of people that have gotten the global talent visa, right? It is who they are. Like the global talent visa is not about looking for the most technical guy. It's about, because the most technical guy will be in a room and he will not maybe he'll create a company or something or make money for himself, but it will not have that community impact. Right. So Technician is very much deliberate about people that they are good, but they also impact their community. Right. There must be commercial impact, there must be evidence of monitoring, speaking and community contributions, code. You must have a voice. And again, like, it's very important to know that this is not just for the application. It is who you have become. It is just about, like my friend that is on the Global Talent, he hosts like this summit every year, in Ogun State that has like 5,000 people. He got the Global Talent and he still hosts it. I have another friend of mine that is on the Global Talent that hosts this teenage conference every year, and she still does it. Right, I still speak at talks. Like I've spoken at a couple of technical conferences this year, and I've gotten the Global Talent because it is who I became. And then all I just had to do was put the evidences together and then just submit it. Right. So it's a function of becoming somebody that contributes, becoming somebody that has impact, becoming somebody that mentors, and becoming someone that writes great code, becoming somebody that has commercial impact. I got references from Google when I submitted my talent application. I got references because I was also volunteering in AWS. I got references from AWS. In fact, before I got on this call, I filled a form of AWS sending me some swags, because again, there's community orientation and, very impactful mentoring. And this is just, a lot of us that, had gotten the global talent visa because we have a community, you realize that we have been doing these things not for the application, right? It has not been a way of life. And all they had to do was just put things together. The founder of Blockfest Africa, the founder of I think the founder of She Code Africa too, the founder of the female women in DeFi, right? You could see a lot of people that have pushed through communities, mentor thousands of people. You always see them on this kind of office, and those are the guys that usually get it, right? And if he's starting that track of mentoring people, of beg your pardon, starting that track of contributing to the community, it will come through, right? So the clock is also running out, right? I have had people that wanted to apply for the global talent. Actually, this is the toughest stuff. So I usually say this thing that when I apply for the global talent visa, the most compulsory part were my recommendation letters. In fact, if you have the right recommendation letters, it was not compulsory to submit evidence. Like submitting an evidence was completely optional. You didn't have to submit evidence. If you had like key recommendation letters, like recommendation letters from, let's say, the Royal Society of England, the Royal, what's the name of this story? The Royal Engineering Society of England, or the Royal Art Society of England, or from the Prime Minister. There are a couple of recommendation letters that will just make you bypass having to submit evidence. But for 99% of people, you need to submit letter. But I'm just trying to show you how important recommendation letters are. And I know a couple of people that have gotten everything ready for the global talent application. But when it's time to submit recommendation, like they could not get any credible recommendation letter. Your recommender must have known you for 12 months. It must be clear, written in the letter, that they know you for 12 months. They work with you. The story must be different, not similar. I had somebody that was rejected because the story among the two of them were so similar. Like, we work on the project for 12 months, is great and blah. The second one, we worked in the project for 12 months, is great and good and blah. The third one, we worked in the project for 12 months, is great, good, nice and blah. So it must be different. Like, I worked at the point I worked at Money Africa, so to help shape the product. I got a recommendation letter from Money Africa. The CEO, that's my co-founder, sent me, gave me a recommendation letter. I got a recommendation letter from the CTO of Insomnia Lab in the US. It's my friend. We have worked for a couple of years. I got a recommendation letter. So you can see that it's a C-suite. So, and I had other recommendation letters that were ready to go. Like, a lot of people were like, Michael, do you know what? Just let me know. And this is why you have to be a good person. So if you're not a good person, people will have to look for recommendation letters for you. You have to beg. But if you have done credible work, people will be like, yeah, sure, I'll give you a recommendation. Yeah, sure, I'll give you a recommendation. Right? Especially when you're looking for recommendation letters from top C-level guys that have raised a lot of money, made a lot of money, or both. So build a credible reputation. This is where having a good name, just comes into play. The evidence graveyard, since people probably submit that will carry almost no weight. If you have a lot of certifications, they just show you can study. They don't show you have an impact. If you have a senior job and you do not state the measurable contribution, it's simply a claim, not a proof. If you have screenshots with no context, no story, dashboard, nobody can date verify. If you don't drop numbers, you just say stuff like, trust me, it was big. You don't have a named client. You have no third party. You don't have any case. If you have everything squeezed in, create strong documents, not a lot of weak ones, right? If it lives on a private laptop, it cannot be accessed. Like, doing work only you can see. Please, if you feel like I could share the slides, but this is something you should screenshot, because this is what a lot of people make mistakes on. They have a lot of, especially in DevOps and cloud. You're coming with your AWS certification and GCP certifications, and they will just start to they want people that can impact the community. with what they are doing, not just people that are smart, right? Like being smart, everybody can study. There are a lot of people that can study hard and achieve great stuff. But the key thing is people that can contribute. I told you that Ezra's first application for the global talent, he didn't get it. I don't know if he got it later on, but it was not just founding a big company. It was about speaking, contributing. And this was far back, I don't know, maybe 29. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
I think somebody was annoyed at my voice and just muted me. So, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said that I've not had anything meaningful to eat today. But yeah, and if I'm rushing too much, you can just put it in the chat and say, hey, you're blowing through it, right? Somebody remember me from Dev Festival. Hello, Peter. Yeah, Dev Festival, like one of my favorite communities. I like the rural areas more because like there's so much drive. If you are doing like a Dev Fest, Aja, people are driving in cars, and maybe you are doing a Dev. We used to do Dev Fest in Landmark. I used to join them to organize. People are, I don't know, comfortable. There's still the hunger there. But when you go to places like Ogbomoso, Ikorodu, to do Dev Fest, you see people like come with laptops, and the laptops have to be plugged in, and they're good. Like they're really good engineers. Like people really hungry, like they're ready to go. I spoke at Dev Fest Ogbomoso 2 times in a row. I spoke at Dev Fest Ikorodu, I think also 2 times. I spoke at Dev Fest Ibadan. Yeah, Ibadan too, because I lived in Ibadan for a while. So Ibadan, the guys are ready to learn. A lot of students coming in, ready to put in the work. And I just love staying where the hunger is, because it reminds me of myself, my first Dev Fest, and all that stuff. So these are very easy communities like to make impact in, because if you just know a little, they give you an opportunity to speak. Just because and it's just a very nice way to. It doesn't have to be a big stage, right? I have people that got the global talent speaking from a small stage, but speaking consistently. You don't have to speak to like 1,000 and 2,000 people at once. It must just be like a consistent contribution. Okay, in 2020, this guy spoke. In 2021, this guy spoke. In 2022, this guy spoke. It's consistent. Like it must just be consistent, and don't like, oh, I've worked in this place, I've worked in this place. I have seen technicians reject a lot of high salaries, and they say your salary is not high enough. But then you see somebody with a low salary but so much contribution, like the community felt him. I've seen technicians reject people that worked at Google, my own friends that worked at Google, because they said maybe your impact was not felt, you consulted, blah blah blah. And then there are people that are working in one shabby startup. Consistent application, consistent mentoring, and that's what gets it. So if there's one thing you should screenshot, it should be this slide. So your next 90 days, I wrote my technician application in 90 days. I think you can too. If you have not gotten, and then of course there are other societies that can help you. I think the Fekxir also offers a service that can help you write your application or put stuff together. If like me, I didn't have the time, right? I sort of like used a friend at some point. This was far back in 2023. So I had a friend to help me. At the time, I was working a couple of jobs at the time. So I feel as if to make consistent contribution will take 6 to 12 months. Preparing the application will take 90 days, because you don't want to go and spend $700-800 just for nothing, right? And it's very boring, and boring stuff is where the money is made, right? So create a folder called evidence, just drop the best thing and continue doing it. This week, write 300 words about it, watching, by how much, for whom. This month, name your future recommenders. This quarter, ship something public, a repo, a talk, an article. Do the work, leave the receipt, repeat, right? And this is like, you could also screenshot this. This is a way to say, and I can share the slides, I can make it public. just make sure it's just read-only access. So going through doing the work and doing all this stuff. But yeah, I think that is it, and that's all for me. Very short, less than 30 minutes. So yeah.
Okay, wow, that was an interesting one. Thank you very much, Michael, for that. Yes, so questions. I think there's a question there's a question in the chat. We can drop questions in the chat. And I think if Beauty has a question. Beauty, I see a question in the chat. I think maybe you want to, is it the same question or a different question you want to ask? It's the same, right? Okay, so Beauty is asking about the global talents visa. Is it for technical talents like DevOps, product managers? I think you want to know if others that are not technical can also apply for global talent. Michael, are you there? It's like Michael is frozen.
Okay. I didn't get the question. I was reading the interesting comments. So
okay.
Yeah.
She's asking if the global talent resource is for technical talent alone, like DevOps and products and designers. Can non-technical people also apply for global talents?
Yes. The global talent is a group of industries and economies that, you know, so you do not have to apply to be endorsed in tech, right? So you're endorsed by a body that says, look, I've looked through this guy's contribution, it's solid. You do not have to be endorsed from a technical industry or something like that. You can be endorsed in arts. That's less likely. You can be endorsed in fashion, right? You see tailors coming to the UK, right? Because they are good fashion designers. They have some pieces. They've done Ashwebi upon Ashwebi, and it's just good, right? You can be endorsed in business. I think business and tech is the same thing, but you can verify that. But there are a couple of industries that are not related to tech. So another thing that is very important is DYOR. You need to also be able to do your own research, right? Take out time. You should not just outsource thinking. You should not outsource reasoning. You can outsource the work, but not the reasoning. So take out time, have a look through, see something that fits. There's also the innovator visa, right, for people that have innovations. Some people, you're working, you're building a company, you don't have any community contribution, the global talent might not just be for you, right? The innovator visa, you've done $1 million in transaction, you've built something beautiful. Just go apply for the innovator visa. But for people that are community driven, that are also smart, they've done the technical work, they have the presence, they have the community, they have people that can say, yes, I know him, he has done a good job. Technician is sweet, right? It's just gathering evidence and just presenting it. So I think I answered the question. I'm not sure, but I think I did. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think you did it, and also I think I know a couple of global talent recipients that are non-technical. So non-technical people also, they receive global talent visas. So yes, Isaac, you have your hands raised. You can go ahead.
Okay, good evening. Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Michael, for the session. So I have two questions. The first one is, if I apply, let's say I apply for this global talent visa in the next 90 days, and I probably get this visa, will I have to be renewing it, or is there anything I would need to do? Let's say I have the visa and I don't want to travel yet. Is there a process I'm going to have to do to probably renew the visa or something? Then secondly, I mainly joined this call because I just wanted to learn about what the global talent visa entails, because I saw when posts started going about, they are looking for people who are into design, which is a field that I am currently in. But I currently don't feel like I really want to apply for this yet because I'm in school and a few other things. I feel I'm still building. So what advice would you necessarily give me as regards to this? I hope my questions were clear.
Yes, your question is pretty clear. There are some questions I can answer. There are some questions I can't. Right? I can't answer specifics on the situation if you're still in school. So I can answer the question of, would you need to renew? No. It's straight to ILR, which is permanent residency. So if you get the global talent application, it's straight down to ILR. If you get the innovator visa, you have to reapply every year. They check on your work to make sure you are really innovating. So you have about 3 months to come into the UK when you get the global talent visa. If you are ready for the global talent visa, I can answer that. It is based on a lot of stuff. The Chinyere has dropped something that can help. It's based on a lot of stuff about you, right? There's a pretty decent criteria, right, that you have to meet. The guide is online. You could pull it, the technician guide. You could read it. If that is you, then you're ready. If that is not you, then I won't usually apply. I ask people to work towards the application. Like, you can tailor a lot of stuff towards it, but in the end, I see a lot of people getting rejected because they tailored a lot of stuff. The first thing is make sure that is who you are. Right? Make sure you're the person that contributes to the community. You're the person that maybe has a product that does some work. Don't go and become a senior engineer because, okay, you get the visa, right? The UK is a completely different ball game from Nigeria. The UK, okay, you're in Nigeria, you're competing for jobs. You're competing against Nigerians. No Chinese because the pay is, is that small compared to global scale. When you come to the UK, you compete with the Chinese guys. You compete with the UK. You compete with the Indian guys. You compete with guys that are good. You compete with guys that have not had power outage in like 10, 15 years. You have to understand that getting the visa is a step, right? Coming to getting ready to compete and trying to get a job. I've had friends, quite frankly. I've had friends that have come into the UK. Solid guys, smart guys, crypto guys, guys in crypto, guys in DevOps. And when they came in, they couldn't get a job. Not because they were not even global talent. They were global talent fabric and material. But when you come into the UK, you realize what you realize what competing globally means. It means that you have to be on top of your game at every point in time. It means that you must be the guy that can get the job done. It means if you're hired for a senior engineer role in the UK, it means that most likely you're a senior engineer. Right? You could be hired as a senior engineer in Nigeria without being a senior. But I'm just letting you know that it's not how can I get the visa that is the number one question. Is when I read the guide, is this who I am? Just so that you don't, frustrate yourself and submit an application, getting rejected, and then even if you get through, you find a way to get through, which is very less likely nowadays. Coming to find out that the UK is an entirely different ball game. It's not Nigeria. The UK, your competition can be some guy that just came from China and is also looking for a new job. And because it's good, you might go without a job for some time. So just make sure you are that person. You can type your questions in the comments. I'm sure the moderator.
All right, sir. Thank you for the answer.
Okay, Benga has been raising his hand. I think, Benga, you can just go.
Okay, good evening. Thank you so much for the amazing opportunity. So my question is basically, so if you've put together your recommendation letters and your evidence, okay, let's say your recommendation letters and then few of your evidence, and then there are some of your evidence that you need to now start talking to these people. Please, I need these, or probably a talking you get the opportunity to speak at an event or a TV channel. You get to speak. So let's say you get to do all of that this year. Let's say you did that maybe in June. I know you got all your other evidence. Let's say in June. Yeah, let me say in June. Then you want to apply the same year, this year. So is it okay to apply the same year, or you wait so it doesn't look like everything was created, for the purpose of your application? I hope you understand my question, sir. So let me did you understand my question, please?
Yes, I did. I got a question.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, so it goes back to what I said, right? If you find yourself having to, and see, I'm not saying there are not people that had to get evidence, but these guys were already what the global talent was looking for. They just had to, make it. They just had to make it reviewed. They just had to make it looked at. This slide deck says it's not a side project. It's not something, and I'm not saying that it means you're not ready. It just means that if maybe you give a talk somewhere in 2024, you wrote an article somewhere, you spoke, you mentored some guys. It's just thinking and getting everything together. And it's okay, yeah, I actually did this stuff. But if you now sit and say, oh, I want to get the global talent visa, okay, so I'm going to give a talk, they'll reject you. If your evidence, if majority of your evidence is within a 12-month period, you'll not take. Some of your evidence must be far apart, some of your evidence must be close. Having immediate evidence is not likely you're going to be selected, right? And this is me just being blunt and frank. You could put in evidences like through a period of time. Now the technician goes ahead to do some validation. So you don't make up stuff. You do some validation, they do some verification. If you are caught to be providing false information, they will take your application apart and also ban you for some time from applying to UKVI, which is the institute that's responsible for immigration, visas and immigration. So as much as possible, be correct, drop the right piece of information. And then if you say, okay, and trust me, there are a lot of visas, there's the nomad visa. There are a lot of visas that you can do. And it's me just being very sincere and saying there are a lot of visas that can take you out of Nigeria. It doesn't have to be the technician. But the technician is very specific about the kind of people they are looking for. I'm not discouraging you from stopping. I'm just tired of seeing people that, they applied and they didn't get it. They applied and they did get it. And they say, okay, maybe it's difficult. It's not difficult. There is a criteria that is clearly worded out in English. And then people try to bend through it and not follow the instruction. The UK, the technician application process is so fair that even when you get rejected, in a space of a number of weeks, you could write and say, hey, like I'm that guy. I have a friend that submitted, they rejected him, and he said no, like he wrote back and like I dropped this. I believe according to what you put as documentation, I should get it. And they reviewed it and they were like, wow, it's correct. And they gave it to him. Right? Because he was that person. And on further review, they found out that indeed he is him. Right? So that's pretty much it. It's not a side project, it's a byproduct of a lot of things I've done. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You said your evidence should be apart. So some can be in some, legitimately some should be in maybe 2024, 2025. Everything should not be within the space of 1 year or few months. So I think, yeah, thank you so much for that. And then lastly, you made mention of some other visas. I didn't hear that part, please. You made mention of some other visas to UK. So I don't know. Could you just please help me recap that side? Thank you.
So just very quickly, there's the innovator visa. If you're innovating a product that you think is good, AI, blockchain, cybersecurity stuff, you apply, they give you an assessor, they review your application. If it qualifies, you come to the UK. And then you are assessed every year for 3 years. There's the nomad visa to a lot of other European countries, like Malta, like Portugal. And then you can visit the UK if you're so passionate about the UK when you get to Portugal. There are a couple of other visas. If you get a job offer in Germany, you're given a visa, right? There are a couple of pathways. that is not just restricted to global talent, as long as you don't come to the UK as a student. Because if you come to the UK as a student, you'll be stressed out. You stay, right? But you just be stressed. If your plan is to, and be very sincere, frank, and very blunt, right? Yeah, if you're passionate about doing your masters, then the UK is like an awesome place to come to. But if you want to immigrate, like stay in the country, having a master's does not help you. So yeah.
Thank you very
Okay,
much. Thank you.
All right, so yeah, I think we have a couple of more questions. I think I see people plan raised, but first, before I come to the ends, I think guys, you can also type in the chat. Let me just read out Oladele's question. It's a long one. He says, Oladele is a senior database engineer with good experience in tech ecosystem, currently working with Unicorn for almost 2 years now, and previous experience in banking. So while I have started documenting my technical experience in my GitHub repo and LinkedIn, I also want to give back to the community by volunteering my time and experience. But it has been very difficult getting an opportunity. What do you advise in this regard?
Okay, I'm just going to share the guide, the technician guide. So a couple of questions in the comment section can be answered by just going through the guide, quite frankly. I'm going to share the guide. You also have me on LinkedIn. If you read the guide and you, even outside of this conference, because we just have 12 minutes left, if you read the guide and you still don't get something, feel free to just hop a question at me on LinkedIn. I answer a lot of questions on LinkedIn. And the guide pretty much says, and I'm going to switch to the guide now, share this tab instead. The guide pretty much says it has been updated. It pretty much says frequently asked questions, right? So of course, they don't forge any stuff. And then there's applicant suitability. There's typical applications, what they expect, example of engineering. Somebody asked me if DevOps can apply. This is DevOps, they love you. You're number one on the list. Now they are clear here that what they want is principal software engineers, right? Principal software engineers, that means you are both senior level. It's very clear. It's written in English. They are clear here that they want experienced data scientists and data engineers, right? Hardware engineers, experienced front-end engineers, right? They are clear, pretty much clear. Now, backend might, be oblivious, but they're also clear to say they want experienced backend engineers leading development, contributing heavily to major new technologies and open source projects. They want CTOs and VP of engineering. Then if you're a virtual augmented reality developer and you're never experienced, they love you because they know how difficult it is. So example of business skills, if you want to go business, okay, cool. They'll say you must have 25 million pounds worth of investment in your business or growth. It could be either of the two. It's there. So note that the following are not considered. Consultancy, somebody mentioned that he had been a freelance developer for a couple of years. Consultancy, not considered. ERP consultancy, not considered. System admin, not considered. Outsourcing, not considered. Process delivery, service delivery, not considered. Corporate roles in large corporate organization. This is very simple. Let's say you are a team lead at EY. There's no way for them to verify that you led something because EY is a big company. Junior investors, analysts, they don't want you. Business skills, stuff that are not enabled, agencies, outsourcers, they are clear, right? So it's not, again, the clear thing is it's not about bending the definition. It's about reading in the strictest language what they want. Because when technician says no, they've already collected your $700. Now I'm trying to stop you from spending the $700 that you could have spent, I don't know, on an iPhone or on a trip to some resort. Now, they now went down to say, okay, what would be a useful definition in case it's still unclear? What digital technology is, number one, and what product-led means, number two. I spent like 2 weeks reading this document. I took notes. And the major question was, am I who they are looking for? This is not a master's application. They have a persona, right? This is not a thing of, am I apply and get it, or am I bring forth my credentials? There's a persona. If you meet it and fit it, you get it. They are clear on what exceptional. Now they said, okay, you know what? About unsuccessful endorsement application. If you think that this was a mistake, that you were unsuccessful, you can ask a re-review, and we are going to re-review. You must provide all of the following documents and all of that stuff. Now I'm going to also, it's a very detailed document, right? Not just this one. I'm going to go to example of technical skills. I read that one. Now, documentation checklist. What you should submit for your mandatory criteria. How do I demonstrate that I've been recognized, right? A leader must show extraordinary ability. Then they define extraordinary ability. So there's no ambiguity. You led the growth of a product. You led the marketing of a product or the business development. You led the growth of a non-profit. Outside of your job, you were a significant contributor. You led, outside of your role, you did this. You received an award. You received evidence of this. You published material. You earn a high salary. Trust me, there's no salary high enough. You have held or hold a significant expert role. Now they go further to say, what do you think a significant expert role is? So they are being very clear to say this, these people rejected me, their system is wrong. I've seen a lot of that in a lot of applications, right? People just come and say, oh, you know, they rejected me. They didn't reject you. The persona is on the website. And, you know, it's us being upfront, so people don't waste money. The persona is on the website. Fekxir also has an eligibility checker, because, you know, the guys they're not also going to do magic, right? They want to help you get the visa, but they must be sure you are the person that gets the visa, right? The person is who you are. Optional criteria. How do I demonstrate they have it there? Evidence of innovation, blah, 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 blah. They have it there. I went on that exceptional promise, which is the less difficult here, because I just wanted to get in. There's a tailored list, and then change log. Yeah, I love this document so much. They're telling you that, okay, what has changed in the past couple of years? Maybe your friend gave you a piece of advice for his application in 2024. Does it stand now? You go to the change log. Now there's a change log for everything to see what changed from 2020. You can see that digital signatures, this was what changed in 2020. What changed in February? The move personal statement, blah, blah, blah. What changed in August? Fast track remove, blah, 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 blah. Fraudulent application, they added fraudulent application. There's going to be what changed in January? There's a complete set of everything changed. In January, the Fire Nation attacked. And everything changed. Because in January, they are even giving you a PDF of what changed. A lot of stuff changed in January. I think that document is no more again. But the Fire Nation attacked in January. Then April, you see that there's a difference between from April 23rd to January 2025. There was a period where a solid business shoemaker would apply for global talent and show evidence, and they would, you know, I'm not saying they would get it, but I'm just trying to say that it was somewhat easier. Then the Fire Nation attacked in January 2025. So there's a change log, there's a decent change log, and they are also trying to support you to get it, right? They're trying to support you. They want you in the UK because you add to the economy. But they're also saying that we are going to give you chance to stay. Nobody's going to check up on you, whether you have work or not. Nobody really cares. Just survive, right? At the end of your ILR, you show proof that you have been paying tax and that you have been in the country, and they give you permanent residency. It's straightforward, right? But you must be this person and not, you know, try to bend it through. So yeah, I'm sure that this demonstration would have answered like a couple of the questions in the comment section, because I've read them and they're similar to this. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Michael. Yes, I think everybody here should, you know, go through this website. This is very, and also go through the slide and go through the website. Thank you so much, Michael. Let's put hands together for Michael. And Chinere has been sharing. Let me just quickly share it as well. The assessment, I think it was not clickable before, but this one is clickable. So if you are trying to figure out where do you stand, you're trying to figure out, okay, where am I right now? This eligibility assessment will help you. I think it's provided by Fekxir. So you can just put it there, fill out the assessment, and know where you stand. So yeah, thank you very much. So there's one of the questions that was asked. I think YPIT can also, help, because YPIT, like I said, we're a community of tech professionals, and one of the ways we help our community members is through we host networking events and we host community-led programs. And currently we are running a program, a global mentorship program, that's what we call it. This is our second edition of the global mentorship program, where we pair mentors with mentees. So if you feel like you are someone who can mentor others, you can, because I think that is definitely one of the criteria for global talent. And you feel like you want to give back, like someone asked, you want to give back to the community. YPIT is a perfect place to give back. Beauty is one of our top person that gives back to the community. She helps with our innovation hub, and she hosts sessions, weekly sessions, although they are ended now, in the digital marketing innovation hub. So definitely is one way to give back, and definitely you should be a part of it. I think let me find the link for that. And while I do that, would you like to say a few words about Fekxir before we end the session? I just talk about what Fekxir is, what you do at Fekxir, and also about the assessments. Chinere.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you so much, Israel. Thank you so much for coming in and giving us a wonderful session. So a quick word on who we are at Fekxir. So Fekxir helps high-impact professionals in tech, academia, and the creative fields to build their case for the UK Global Talent Visa. We are not a law firm, we are a case-building partner. And the thing that most people get wrong is that they assume that the visa is for like the famous few or for celebrities, so they never even check. So it's for people who are actually doing real work, just like Michael has said so, and who just have not proven it yet on paper the way that the endorsement bodies needs to say it. So that's the whole idea behind everything Michael showed you tonight. So you've done the work, our job is to help you prove it. So if anything this evening made you wonder whether you might qualify, so the best thing to do is to actually start with our free eligibility assessment. So once you take the assessment, you get to book a free discovery call with a member of our team. So it takes a few minutes and it tells you exactly or honestly where you stand. And okay, I've shared it here. I'll share it again here also. And if you've taken it before and you didn't qualify, the advice I will still give is to take it again as your work grows, because that answer changes as your evidence does. So thank you everyone, and we're actually rooting for you for this particular program. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Michael. Thank you.
All right, thank you,
Yeah,
Michael.
Mr. Israel, over to you.
All right, yeah, Chinere, thank you very much for that. Thank you, Michael. Let's put hands together one more time for Michael as he pops up. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, shared the slide. Yeah, shared the link to the Technician Global Talent application. So I think I'll put that in the chat. I'll put that also in the group so you can have access to it. So thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for your time.